Hi everyone, Tim from the Heresy group. So today I'm going to talk about something, as you've guessed by the title, it's them damn stupid Flicky mag changes. Now, I'm not going to pinpoint anyone in particular, but we've seen a few training videos go up over the past maybe 2 or 3 months where a lot of guys in the airsoft scene have taken to this real fucking aggressive flick of their mag change. And I have a massive issue with it. Now, there is a few key points around this that are specifically related to airsoft. So when you see your soft law enforcement dude on their range day throwing their $4 mags all over the place, it really doesn't account or equate for that scenario. The scenarios that we're going to be talking about today are airsoft related, and these then relate to problems inherent to the airsoft community, the platform, and also the costings around our airsoft goods. So what I'm going to do is jump between this standing setup and then also my kit related setup, and I'll talk you through some of this. Now again, I'm no law enforcement military expert, and I can only talk to the experiences that I've personally had, and from a very common sense and logistics point of view, how I see this being a problem. So let me jump and get some kit on and we'll talk through this. So guys, changed into some kit. Pretty traditional plate carrier setup here, 3 across the front, running 5.56, with the primary running 5.56 as well. So what we see a lot in these videos, and quite common for people to be doing, is this fucking flick mag change, right? So they do this, and they fuck the magazine off into a new postcode, right? So that magazine's fucking ejected into the fucking ecosystem. Gone, right? And then they're left in this sort of position, which instantly you can see the problem with, right? They flick the gun sideways. They've done that to give it as much fucking, you know, Goku oomph as possible. And now they are stuck with the gun platform in front of them. And they do this. Once they've watched their successful fucking light speed magazine disappear into the mist, they're left like this, and then they go for their reload, and then they're back onto their weapons platform, and then they're putting their rounds down. Okay, before I hyperventilate, there's a lot of problems with doing that with airsoft. This isn't real steel where you can just eject a magazine. The primary principle of the platform is to have as many rounds and have as much uptime in that platform as possible at one time. You know, this is not law enforcement, this is not military, and I don't want to talk to those platforms because I don't know enough about them. But just from the common sense perspective, you want as many rounds in that platform at once, and for that platform never to be dry during any form of an engagement. So if you are in a fixed position, and this does relate to airsoft, and I've personally done this myself, I'm behind cover, I've got the weapons platform out in front of me, and I'm putting rounds down on a target. You see the target squat, come up, and they're just about to move between 2 points of cover, an absolute perfect opportunity to shoot them, and your gun is out of ammunition. The fastest way of getting a new magazine into this gun is to go for the new magazine. Oh shit, he's about to run. Slow motion. As that drops to the ground, you put your new mag in, and then you shoot him whilst he's moving. That is definitely the fastest way of you having rounds in that gun possible. The magazine falls straight down, your eyes are through the target still, you're not even looking down at the magazine, you just watch it fall, and then you're ready to go, right? That for sure is the fastest way of keeping your gun up and on target. How often that scenario's ever happened to me? Once or twice ever in all of the airsoft that I've been playing. Well, what does often happen to me is I've got people around me, I'm in a building or I'm in a woodland scenario or I'm at Hesco's or something, I'm putting rounds down on an enemy, my gun runs dry, and my primary objective is to let my friends know that I'm changing mag. Now this is not the 40s where you stand with your bugle and go, doo, 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 I'm changing a magazine. No, just let someone know so that if they're expecting you to cover an arc of fire, that they know that you're potentially down for a very short period of time. Normally, I'm with the silver-haired one, and I'll give them a tap, changing mag, and I'll go through my mag change process. Now, As you can probably see, just from muscle memory, where my weapon goes when I'm changing, I don't do this. Because then I'm like, oh shit, I've got this giant gun the size of the yellow pages in front of my face, and now I can't see anything. It just doesn't work. So what I do when I'm about to change, whether I'm during engagement, I pull my gun in tight like this. Now there's a good few reasons for this, and I will talk you through them. One, I can now move. I'm in a dynamic position where the gun is fixed in tight against my body. I use my forearm and the stock to pull it in tight so that now my gun is out of rounds. I can remove myself from cover, I can move between people without flagging them with my muzzle, and I can dynamically position myself somewhere else. So if I'm shooting through a window and my gun goes down out of rounds, I can go change in and then roll away from the cover, giving one of my other teammates that spot to cover for me if I need to. This puts me in a very easy and very reactive position with my gun up like this. Also, I can still see everything. I'm not done this where it's now blocking everything. It's like this, I can still see this. Also, with the way that I have my sling set up, when I pull my gun like this and I can tuck my arm in a little bit here, it pulls the sling up and away and I can see the tops of my magazines. Very, very important. Even in this position, looking at the camera, I can still see the tops of my mags. What I'm going to then do is go down for one of these magazines. Now this does make it a little bit more difficult because I'm running the phone holder on the front of here, but if I flick this out the way, you can see the sort of positioning from my hand. Now if you can get your hands down the back of your magazines, even better, but if you can't, what you want to avoid doing is what they call beer can in your mag. It's doing this with it. Because as you put it in to your gun, it's very easy for it to slip out of your hands if your hands are wet or you've got gloves on or whatever. What you want to try and get some purchase so your hand covers the bottom of it, so that the magazine, if pushed, can't slip anywhere. So what I try and do is run my finger also down the side of the magazine and get it. So now it can't go down that way, and that finger helps me align to where I'm going to put it. I then clamp these together, and what's really nice about these EPM mags is they've got the little ridge plate at the bottom, and when they clamp together, they clamp together really tightly. So what we're going to do is just go through that. I'm going to pick that up like so. I'm going to squeeze these together. Once these are together, and only at that point, do I go for my mag release. And I'm just going to turn to the side here so that you guys can see. Push my mag release at this point, I go out and in. So it's very, very simple. The actual transition between the two mags is like 4 inches. So it's only at this point, comes in, I clamp them together, I go out like this, and then I'm ready to re-index that magazine and I'm back on target. Now, understandably, there is a fraction more time included in that type of mag change than either letting gravity pull your magazine towards the ground or your fucking Goku Ken from Street Fighter Blanka flick into a new fucking postcode. It makes no sense to me at all. But what you can do is get that incredibly slick. So it's nice and proactive. You can get it fast. Now, that takes some time and that takes some practice, right? And I have no means mastered it. But I do like the fact that you can work on that to get your magazines and everything back in. And even then, if I'm putting rounds down, my gun is out of rounds for such a short period of time. If my gun is out in front of me, again, I can still do that same change. It still works exactly the same as if the gun's flat, as if the gun is up. Now, obviously, this is a much more preferential position to be in because you are much more active than having the gun out in front of you like this and holding it with one hand. But if you do need to, the actual process is exactly the same. So I've got it, I'm rested, I'm on a berm, something like that. I'm standing and cover, I've got it relent against the window ledge, whatever, right? I can still do that same process. I pull that out, I get that like so, and I force it back in, and then I am ready to move. I've not got the problem that you see when it's ejected that you're going to see here. Excuse me guys, excuse me, sorry, I flicked my magazine earlier like a complete and utter wafflehead, and I run off and left it over here. Do you just mind stopping your firefight? Oh, there it is, yes, well, here we go. Sorry for interrupting the firefight, I won't throw this again. So, I think that covers this off from what I would prefer to do and what to see people do, rather than this big mag flick. Now, also, let's just have a little bit of a talk about these. These are the EPM PTS mags for Tokyo Maruis. They're pretty robust, they're pretty solid, and nicely, these wings on the back are really nice and sturdy. Would I still want to drop this every time that I do a mag change? No. Do I want someone else to tread on it, stomp on it, flick it against a wall or whatever while I'm using it? No, because these are expensive. They're not $4, shells that you can get in the US for real steel. These are £30, £35 magazines, dependent upon where you shop. If you use MWS mags, you're looking at like 50 quid a magazine. If you shell these out, so you actually put the proper PTS, the proper polymer mags on here, the PTS ones, then you're looking at like 60 quid a mag by the time you've had them dremeled out and had them all made to fit. If you're looking at Systema mags, again, they're super, super expensive. So the last thing you want to be doing is dashing these about. Also, if I lose this and that's gone, for example, I've flicked it, I've left it in a room, whatever the scenario is, I'm actually down on my capacity as an individual to be able to go out there and put rounds down. It sounds super silly, but at the end of the day, unless you're carrying tons of spare mags on you at all times, you're down, upward of 100 rounds in some cases. It just makes absolutely no sense to me at all. So you can work on those mag changes. It's something I always work on. I'm by no means perfect at it, but I do want to get it better all the time, where I just go, right, yep, that was a good mag change, it works, right? It doesn't help at the minute that this phone case is in the way. But at the same time, you can understand the principle of why that works, right? Because I'm ready to go. All in all, even at a slow pace like that, that's just over a second to change magazines. It's really such a small period. Then you see if you're doing this shit. So I really hope that makes sense. I didn't want to pick on people, I didn't want to dig people out, but it just makes absolutely fucking mind-bogglingly no sense to me at all to do a stupid flicky mag change. If you're doing them for fun, whatever, cool. But if you're actually training like that, you're actually taking the effort and the time out of your day, your syllabus of training, to work on that as a particular thing, for me is fucking crazy when you could be working on so much more. Now, whether it's a pistol, whether it's an M4, whether it's AK, whatever the platform is, fucking index your magazines. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you effort. It's also going to, mitigate the risk of you damaging or losing equipment. I really hope this makes sense. I know this has been a bit of a rant. It's something that I really wanted to talk on. It's definitely something that I practice all the time. I definitely need to practice more on my mag changes to get them absolutely squeaky clean. But I hope that makes sense. Leave your comments, questions, feedback, everything down in the box below. If you have a counter argument, I'm always eager and to listen and learn to other individuals. I really don't see it making sense in any way, shape or form. Slap that like. I really appreciate all of the feedback that you guys give to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.